Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a quick video to give you kind of some understanding and knowledge of the environmental score when it comes to precision farming. We're going to talk about kind of how the score is calculated, what's a good way to get the best score and everything like that. It is more difficult to get the best score with precision farming for 2025 or Farming Simulator 25 compared to previous versions, so we will take a look at that. But anyhow, if you have precision farming installed and you go into your main menu here, we're going to go over to our precision farming menu here, and we have soil types, pH, nitrogen, yield, seed rate, all that good stuff. And if you click on the field, you can get your purchased soil information, all that good stuff on there. But what we're really trying to figure out here is how to get this environmental score up. So you can see right now it's 53. I haven't really done anything to make it better. But down here, your environmental score does not affect the sell price at all. If you have a score of 100, it should raise your sell prices by 15%, and that's everything. Pallets, goods, everything. It does not matter. Everything is going to get you 15% more, so it's definitely something you want to try to get up if you can. And if it does get low enough, you will start to get a deficit. I believe it goes down to negative 10%, but I could be wrong about that. We'll see if it says anything here in a second. But anyhow, the categories for precision farming for your environmental score are nitrogen, pH value, weed control, soil sampling, and tillage. And this is average between all your fields. So you can see this field actually has a score of 57, where the actual score is 53. So it averages all your fields together. Each field has its individual score. Now, as you can see here, if I click on this or just hover over it, I can click on it to get some information up here. But if I just hover over this, it has 5 green bars down here. These correspond with this in here. So you can see my soil sampling's up slightly. That's because this field I did soil sampling, but I haven't for my other field, so it got that bar all the way up. So you can kind of see, like, oh, well, bar 1 is low. What is that? That's nitrogen. Well, okay, well, bar 5 is low. Okay, well, that's tillage. So you can kind of see the corresponding bars there if you're curious for a specific field, why it's not doing so good. So let's talk about what each of these values are. What is the max value you can get for each of these, I should say. So the total value is obviously 100. It's out of 100. Nitrogen is up to 30 points. The pH value is up to 15. The weed control is up to 30 points, soil sampling is up to 15 points, and tillage is 10 points, all for a total of 100. So how do you get the best score on each of these is kind of what I want to talk about. Well, if we go down here and we go to our help menu and we scroll over to precision farming, it actually gives us a lot of really good information down here. So some of this stuff is pretty straightforward, and other ways it's a little bit more complicated. So when we talk about pH value, I'm going to come back to nitrogen last because nitrogen is one of the most complicated ones. pH value is pretty straightforward. As long as you actually lime the field and get the pH value set correctly, you're going to get 15 points. And again, I did separate videos talking about all these different aspects of precision farming and how to accomplish these things. I'm specifically talking about the environmental score in this video and how to get it to the highest level. So if you need help with any of these specific things I'm talking about, check out the video that actually talks about that. But this is just focusing on getting that environmental score up to 100 and what you need to do that. So as long as the pH value is good to excellent or good to perfect on your fields, you're going to get the full 15 points for that. Not a big deal. Soil sampling is the easiest of them all. As long as you sample the fields, which you can either buy the soil samples or you can do them yourself, as long as the field is fully sampled, you get 15 points. Very easy. Tillage down here is also fairly straightforward. Deep tillage is really bad. So plowing attracts you 0 points. You get 0 points for deep tillage. If you do shallow tillage, like a shallow cultivator or something like that, you're going to get 5 points. And the best way to get points is if you use a direct drill seeder, you will get 10 points, the full 10 points for that. Now, obviously, you can't direct drill everything for the most part unless you're using some unrealistic mods. For example, sugarcane, can't direct drill it. There's a lot of things out there that can't be direct drilled. So it understands that. The game understands that. So because of that, it knows you can't direct drill everything. So even if you're only just shallow cultivating everything and planting, you're still going to get half the points here. So overall, from your 100 points, you're only losing 5 points. So it's not that big of a deal, and it's not the end of the world. When it comes to weed control is pretty straightforward as well. There's kind of some various tiers here. If you turn weeds off or you don't do anything with the weeds, you just let them grow and run free, you get 10 points at the bottom. If you just spray the entire field with herbicide and that's it, you just spray the entire field, you get 15 points. So you get a little bit more points. Now, if you use a mechanical weeder and no herbicide, you'll get 20 points, which is pretty good. But the only way to get the full score, the full 30, is if you use spot control for your weeding, which if we go into the store here, if you're curious about what spot control is, under any one of the sprayers, you will get weed spot spraying. You need to have that on there, so that way it only sprays the weeds themselves, and you use 90% less herbicide, which is pretty impressive. So that's why you get a really high score for that. But yeah, that's kind of the way to do that. Now let's talk about the most complicated of these ways, or the most complicated thing as part of getting the best environmental score here, and that's the nitrogen. So this one is again out of 30 points, and the only way to get those 30 points is to use organic fertilization and use mineral fertilizer with a crop sensor. That's the only way. If you have too much nitrogen, it'll reduce the overall score, and if you have too little nitrogen, it'll also reduce the overall score. That's the only way to get the max 30 points. It doesn't have different tiers down here. It's a completely wide range, which makes it kind of one of the more convoluted things. So let's hop into the store here and take a look at a couple things. So if you use, use one of these guys, a sprayer of some kind, preferably with pulse width modulation so you get the best nitrogen coverage. That'll help you get a better score. If you use one with that, that's super fine. You can do that. It's going to take care of everything. No big deal. And you won't have to put any more nitrogen down. However, if you want to get the best score, you can't just do that. You have to do other things. And I talk about all these things in greater detail in my nitrogen video, so I definitely recommend checking that out for nitrogen application. You also can put mineral fertilizer down with one of these guys right in here. No big deal. Now, what it says is you have to use a crop sensor of some kind with that. So there's two ways to go about that. You can get a tractor, and when you buy the tractor, you need to equip the Iceria Pro Compact. If you do this, these sensors can only be used during the daytime. So you only get the bonus from these during the daytime. If you do a lot of farming at night, or you don't want to buy the add-on for your tractor, if we come down here to miscellaneous, you can get this guy, which works during day and night. So you have to have that on the tractor while you're spraying that fertilizer or while you're spreading that mineral fertilizer. So that's what that means when it says you need to have a sensor on there and you need to use mineral fertilizer. But before you do any of that, in order to get that best score, you need to put down some slurry first, or digestate. You need to use one of these guys that has the actual ability to do this. This one does not. You'll see in here, nothing this one can do. But if you go to this guy over here, you'll have the John Deere Manure Sensing. You have to have that on this guy to get the full bonus. So that will allow it to sense kind of what's going on and putting down the kind of the right nitrogen levels when it comes to the slurry or digestate, and you can do it that way. Now, I originally thought that this would also work if you used like a manure spreader and you spread manure down. However, if you take a look in here, and you look at any of these, there's not anything special. It's a different spreading system, but there's no manure sensors or anything like that with any of these, so these aren't going to work for it. You can still use manure, but it's not going to give you that bonus. So that's the only way to get that complete bonus. If you go in here and take a look at that, it's the only way to get that complete bonus is if you use a manure sensor for organic fertilization and the crop sensor with the mineral fertilizer application. Those are the only ways to do it right there. And you have to do the organic fertilization first, because if you do the crop sensor or the mineral fertilization, you're not going to be able to put any organic fertilizer down, because this is going to make your fertilizer level perfect, whereas the organic fertilizer will just add nitrogen, but it won't be necessarily perfect until you use the mineral fertilizer to complete it. So just be aware of that. The environmental score is quite crazy to kind of take care of and make sure it's perfect. So it's a lot of work, but if you get that 100% on there, you're going to get a 15% bonus in your prices, and you're going to get a much higher yield in your fields, because it means you're taking the best care of your field. So it's definitely worth doing. Just make sure you understand how to do it. But don't fret if you're not getting 100%. As long as you're getting up there pretty good, you'll still get a bonus on your selling price for your crops and products. But anyhow, that's what I got for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.